This sponge kind of looks like lips, doesn't it? I would have loved to open this video with a Rolling Stones or Rocky Horror Picture Show song, but the licensing would have killed the budget. Anyway, start it up. Tori's Reef is unique among the southern dive sites because it sits in front of a water intake to the Cargill salt ponds. There's actually a small channel leading from the sluice gates to the sea, which forms a little protected lagoon. But we'll talk more about that in a bit. When it comes to nature, don't let the flat, rocky coast fool you. There is plenty to see. Birds roam the tidal pools looking for small sea life, as do crabs. You may even catch a flamingo or two flying overhead or strolling in the shallow water. If you take a walk during your surface interval, you start to pick out very unique fossilized corals, old shells, and even sponges mixed throughout the debris-covered coastline. And we did find some beautiful vegetation here, although the constant winds made them a bit hard to capture. I know we mention tidal pools a lot on the southern dive sites, but these truly stand out. First, they have some sort of multi-tier thing happening, so parts function more like a running stream than a pool. Second, they not only have an assortment of juveniles, from yellowfin mohara to schoolmasters and sergeant majors, but they also have bigger things like this chain moray eel. When the tide is high, even the bonefish have no problems coming up and checking things out. Okay, here is some very unexpected bonus tidal pool footage. Walking back from one of our night dives, I noticed a spotted seahare. And then we started looking around. There were tons of spotted seahares in the tidal pool. There was also a small and large octopus, a West Indian sea egg, and several warty seacats. Those were first-time captures, by the way. I may just start exploring tidal pools at night more, just to see what else might be lurking in a few inches of water. Tori's Reef is an excellent spot for snorkeling. There are lots of grazing fish on the bottom, and schools of snapper and grunts hang out near the staghorn coral fields. One day, we were lucky enough to see barjacks hunting in a school of brown chromis. We also saw pockets of fire coral surrounded by juveniles, a peacock flounder, and a scrawled filefish. In the bad video, but proof we saw it category, there's a turtle. But hey, you want to see some really cool stuff? How about multiple spotted eagle rays, a spongy decorator crab, octopus, and a queen conch? We'll show longer clips of these terrific finds later, but if you want to learn more about these not-so-common animals, check out the video description below for links to additional information about each one. This is where we typically invite you to subscribe, like the video, and comment below if you enjoy the content. Do it now, before Barry comes looking for you. Thanks! Silvery smiley face. Tori's Reef sits on the southwestern coast of Bonaire. Getting there is as easy as following EEG Boulevard south for a little over 5 miles from the airport. It's 3 dive sites down from Salt Pier, so you can use that as a landmark. Slow down when you see the first set of barricades along both sides of the road. You can park on either side of the second set of barricades, but the water entries are a bit different for each one. We'll show you those in a minute. First, here's a pro tip. Maps.me is an excellent free offline GPS map. Notice we're getting real-time driving directions to Tori's Reef while in airplane mode. Backing in allows for more vehicles, but don't go too far as the slope might make balancing tanks on your tailgate tricky. There are no amenities here, not even a garbage can. Since there's nothing to put gear on, your truck is the best place to set up. Given the drive to get here, it might be easier to stop at a local dive shop in case a piece of gear is missing or broken, rather than going all the way back to where you're staying. If that's the case, there are several dive shops that may be able to help about 3 to 4 miles back north on EEG Boulevard. Also, there is no shade here, so sunscreen and a windshield sunshade will help protect you and your car. There are 2 entry options, one on either side of the bridge. Most divers we've seen go south and walk through a fairly flat path through the tidal pool toward the channel. As you get closer, there is a slow rocky descent for about 15 feet, and then a step into the sandy lagoon where you can don your fins. The rocks are haphazard and can be hard to see as water surges over them. Divers going in on the north side have a shorter walk, but the rocks are much larger and steeper. While that might seem more difficult, you can actually use them as handholds for better balance. Either way, be careful and take your time. The channel extending toward the sea is rocky on both sides, so try not to drift too far from the middle. Once beyond the channel entrance, it's about a 5 to 7 minute swim over a sandy, rocky, and coral debris bottom to the drop-off. Slightly longer to the buoy. Speaking of buoys, we saw a fishing boat tied up one day, and on another, we saw what looked like a regatta, but they aren't the only potential hazard. We've seen wind surfers and kite surfers here as well. Heck, we even saw fishing in the lagoon. Always stay alert and check your surroundings whenever near the surface. The easiest navigational reference point at Tori's Reef is the buoy, which sits in 25 feet of water a little to the north of the channel. The compass headings are 290 degrees west-northwest out to the buoy and 110 degrees east-southeast to return. Alternatively, this tall bell sponge sits about 10 feet in front of an orange elephant ear sponge, and together they point directly back to the channel. If you see those at 30 to 35 feet, turn to 105 degrees east and you should end up back at the entrance. After the sandy shallows, gorgonians and coral heads get more dense as you near the drop-off, which starts around 40 feet. It's a superb reef that goes down to 100 feet, where a large population of garden eels lives in the sandy bottom. Here's what we saw going down in 20-foot increments. We dove here several times, and the current was very mild during the day. That said, it made our first night dive a little challenging. The second one was okay though. There are tons of fish here. We have so many clips of various schools up and down the reef. There are also lots of cleaning stations. The ratio of cleaners to fish was heavily skewed at this one, as the brown chromis waited patiently for a yellow juvenile bluehead wrasse to come by. Other cleaning stations were more balanced. Oddly, we saw a few of these cement bricks strewn across the reef. We're not really sure about their backstory, but they are kind of curious. If you know what they are, leave us a comment below. Finally, as always, the shallows are pretty spectacular. From the bridge overlooking the lagoon, we saw a needlefish and a green moray eel out on the hunt. Of course, the bonefish are in there too, but we don't recommend getting too close to the sluice gates. Just outside the channel entry, there are rocky ledges to the left and right that are terrific places to explore. However, there is a bit more surge there. And then there are the sandy shallows leading to the reef. There's a lot of activity by the staghorn patch, and you may even catch a sand tilefish hovering over the coral debris. Check out how they stabilize their head first, and then sort of roll their body into place. Pretty interesting, huh? There were many highlights from our Tori's Reef dives, including several spotted eagle rays. This one was digging for food. On another dive, Yolanda, from Go With Yo Diving, found this long snout seahorse. Great find. Much easier to spot because they're very bright and seem to be everywhere are all the orange elephant ear sponges. While getting the deep footage, a school of sennets swam by at 80 feet. We did see green morays on a few dives here. Sadly, this one had a hook in its mouth. We should also mention there were a lot of French angelfish for some reason. And we saw the longest bearded fireworm we've ever seen. We're estimating it was about a foot long. You could dive Tori's Reef again and again and still catch something new every time. Here are some of the other great things we saw during our day dives. If you thought daytime diving was good, you should check out the nightlife here. We weren't even out of the shallows when we came across a queen conch. These triangular-shaped crabs are called spongy decorator crabs because the carapaces look like sponges. This flat, round disc in the sand was intriguing enough. Then came a transformation. It turned out to be an elegant anemone and a first-time capture for us. This octopus set itself up on a lobed star coral. And we found this one crawling in the sandy shallows. There were 3 types of sea cucumbers on the reef. This one is a donkey dung sea cucumber because, well, of what it looks like. This one is called a furry sea cucumber because all the spikes look a little like fur. To be honest, we're not sure about this one yet. We're still investigating, but if you know what it is, leave a comment below. If all that wasn't enough, the squid were pretty friendly as well. The rest of this video is just a smattering of what we saw after sundown. Imagine what you'll see here. Enjoy.